Next, we'll discuss the social construction of disability. How is disability defined? First, disability is not purely biomedical. It's a socially constructed term. It is also interactive. The biological and social are interactive in creating disability. They are interactive not only in that complex interactions of social factors in our bodies affect health and functioning, but also social arrangements can make a biological condition more or less relevant to almost any situation. Disability is socially constructed. Cultural factors that determine the standards of normality and exclude those who do not meet them from full participation in society. Societies that are physically constructed and socially organized with the acknowledged assumptions that everyone is healthy, non-disabled, young but adult, shaped according to cultural ideals, and often male, create a great deal of disability through sheer neglect of what most people need in order to participate fully in them. Disability is relative to a person's physical, social, and cultural environment. None of the resulting physical conditions is necessarily disabling. Many do in fact cause disability, given the demands and the lack of support and the environments of the people affected. There are social factors that construct disability. Environmental factors, such as lack of supportive resources like nutrition, education, pollution, poverty, dangerous working conditions, and stress, are a few of the environmental factors that create or construct disability. Others include violence such as war, crime, and abuse. Disease through war or colonialism have also created disability. It's not purely biological in its origin. A society's success or failure in protecting its citizens from injurious crimes has a significant effect on the rates of disability. The social factors that can damage people's bodies almost always affect some groups in society more than others because of racism, sexism, heterosexism, ageism, and advantages of class background, wealth, and education. The rate of disability in a society increases with improved medical capacity to save the lives of people who are dangerously ill or injured in the absence of the capacity to prevent or cure all the physical damage they have incurred. Public health and sanitation measures that increase the average lifespan also increase the number of old people with disabilities in a society, since more people live long enough to become disabled. People with disabilities are acutely aware of how it marginalizes or threatens to marginalize us. The increases in the pace of life are important social causes of damage to people's bodies through rates of accident, drug and alcohol abuse, and illnesses that result from people's neglecting their needs for rest and good nutrition. As the pace of society increases, fewer people can meet expectations of normal performance. Normal activities are treated as disabilities. Menstruation cannot be acknowledged, and allowances are not made for it. Same is said for breastfeeding and childbirth. A great deal of disability is caused by this physical structure and social organization of society. For instance, poor architectural planning creates physical obstacles for people who use wheelchairs, but also for people who can walk but cannot walk or cannot climb stairs, and for people who can do all these things but only at the cost of pain or an expenditure of energy they cannot afford. Much architecture has been planned with young, adult, non-disabled male paradigm of humanity in mind. We have separated the public and private worlds. The public world equals strength, the positive valued body, performance and production, the non-disabled and young adults. The private world equates to weakness, illness, rest and recovery, pain, death, and negative devalued bodies, which are often made to be hidden and neglected. Acknowledgement of disability is what is required for creating accessibility in the public world. The more a society regards disability as a private matter and people with disabilities as belonging in the private sphere, the more disability it creates by failing to make the public sphere accessible to a wide range of people. Most industrialized nations give non-disabled people, in different degrees and kinds, depending on class, race, gender, and other factors, a lot of help in the form of education, training, social support, public communication and transportation facilities, public recreation, and other services. However, providing resources for people living with disabilities is important so they can fully participate in societies. However, we have thought in our society that these forms of accessibility and services are entitlements. They're regarded, the people who need these entitlements, in their words, or accessibility as they truly are regarded as socially dependent, if needing different kind or amount of help. And services and resources are needed to overcome problems that were created socially. Disability is socially and culturally constructed through the omissions of experiences of disability, the lack of representation in society. Consider people with disability with this idea of otherness, and non-disabled people's fear of disability. There's cultural stereotyping of people with disabilities as dependent, morally depraved, superhumanly heroic, asexual, and/or pitiful. Stereotypes create obstacles limiting full participation in society. The selective stigmatization of physical and mental limitations and other differences, selective because not all limitations and differences are stigmatized, and different limitations and differences are stigmatized in different societies, creates this cultural construction of disabilities. Cultural meanings attached to various kinds of disability and illness, and the exclusion of people with disabilities from the cultural meanings of activities they cannot perform or are expected not to perform, is another way disability is culturally constructed. Material advantages for people without disabilities, such as accessibility and creating ability costs time, energy, and/or money, are not things that people without disabilities think about. Charities are a big business and are usually employed by people without disabilities. Disability and accessibility does not need to be handled by governments. It is often a thought of people without disabilities. And often when you are giving to charities, it's seen as an act of kindness rather than a societal need. So how do we create solution or deconstruct our understanding of disability? The author argues that we need an attitude adjustments. We should see disability is not a personal problem, it is a societal problem. In addition, public adoration of disabled heroes allows for the neglect of a social responsibility. We should not see them as heroic, but regular people who have differences in their ability and meet their needs as a full society. Also, an adjustment needs to be made to the sacrifices to create a normal life for everyone, including those with disabilities, so that everyone, as a result, by helping those with disabilities, can be able to do what they want in society. The confinement of people with disabilities in the private realm also exploits women's traditional caregiving roles in order to meet the needs of people with disabilities, and it hides the need for measures to make the public realm accessible for everyone.